I'll admit it. I wasn't expecting Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to remind me why I fell in love with adventure games in the first place. I thought I was getting another licensed action game. Instead, I got something that genuinely feels like a brand new Indiana Jones movie, where I happen to be holding the controller. Welcome back to Smash and Play. Today we're checking out Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on Nintendo Switch 2 to find out if this legendary archaeologist still has one more unforgettable adventure left in him. The story begins in 1937 after a mysterious break in at Marshall College. What starts as a simple investigation quickly grows into a globe spanning mystery involving ancient symbols, a determined journalist named Gina Lombardi, and a conspiracy connected to something known as the Great Circle. Before long, you're traveling through places like Rome, Egypt, Siam, and Iraq, chasing clues while trying to stay one step ahead of the Nazis. And honestly, that classic Indiana Jones feeling is here from the very beginning. This isn't a game that's constantly trying to impress you with explosions every 5 minutes. Instead, it builds curiosity. Every new location made me want to stop and look around, instead of sprinting toward the next objective. That's where the game won me over. Each area feels like a place worth exploring rather than just another level to complete. You'll find hidden collectibles, optional conversations, side activities, and little environmental details that reward players who take their time. More than once, I told myself, I'll finish this mission first. Then I'd notice a strange doorway or an ancient carving on a wall, and 20 minutes later, I was still exploring somewhere completely different. That's the sign of a good adventure game. It makes curiosity feel rewarding. The puzzles deserve a lot of credit too. They're smart without becoming frustrating. And more importantly, they actually fit the Indiana Jones fantasy. You're studying symbols, searching forgotten ruins, activating ancient mechanisms, and paying attention to your surroundings instead of solving puzzles that feel disconnected from the world. There were several moments where I stopped moving completely, just to figure something out myself. The game trusts you to think. I really appreciated that. Combat also surprised me. Going in, I expected to rely mostly on guns. That couldn't have been further from the truth. Indiana Jones isn't supposed to feel like a one man army. He's resourceful, he's improvising, he's making the best out of difficult situations, and that's exactly how the combat feels. Throwing punches has real impact. Using the whip to disarm enemies never gets old. Picking up whatever happens to be lying nearby and turning it into a weapon feels incredibly satisfying. Honestly, some of my favorite fights ended without firing a single bullet. Stealth also plays a much bigger role than I expected, especially on higher difficulties. Sneaking through enemy camps often feels smarter than charging straight into them. Watching patrol routes, quietly taking out isolated guards, and avoiding unnecessary fights made me feel much more like Indiana Jones than simply shooting every enemy in sight. That's probably my favorite thing about the gameplay. It encourages you to play intelligently instead of aggressively. Now, the combat isn't perfect. When several enemies surround you at once, things can become a little messy, and switching items during a hectic fight isn't always as smooth as I'd like. Thankfully, those moments are fairly uncommon. Most encounters give you enough freedom to approach situations your own way, and that flexibility keeps the gameplay feeling fresh throughout the adventure. Presentation is another area where this game absolutely shines. Every major location has its own personality. Rome feels completely different from Egypt. Egypt feels completely different from Siam. The environments constantly remind you that you're on a worldwide expedition instead of revisiting the same locations with different lighting. The cinematic presentation deserves praise too. Cutscenes blend naturally into gameplay, and there were several moments where I genuinely forgot I was playing a game. It felt like I was watching the next Indiana Jones film unfold around me. A huge reason for that is Troy Baker's performance. Trying to play such an iconic character could have easily felt like an imitation. Instead, he makes the role his own. He captures Indy's confidence, humor, curiosity, and determination without trying to copy Harrison Ford line for line. After a while, I stopped thinking about who was behind the voice. He simply became Indiana Jones. The soundtrack is exactly what you'd hope for as well. The familiar musical themes instantly bring back that sense of adventure, while the sound design does an excellent job making every punch, whip crack, and ancient temple feel believable. It's one of those games where wearing headphones genuinely makes the experience even better. Now let's talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 version. Whenever a game like this arrives on Nintendo hardware, there's always one big question. Does it hold up? Honestly, I think it does. No, this isn't the most visually advanced version available. It targets 30 frames per second, and you'll occasionally notice texture pop in. But after the first hour, I stopped paying attention to the technical numbers because I was too busy enjoying the adventure. And handheld mode impressed me even more. Being able to take an Indiana Jones adventure anywhere feels surprisingly natural, and the portable experience ended up becoming one of my favorite ways to play. Sure, other platforms offer higher frame rates and sharper visuals, but having this entire adventure running well on Nintendo Switch 2 is genuinely impressive. Looking back, I think that's what impressed me most about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Nothing feels like it exists just to check a box. The story supports the exploration supports the puzzles support the adventure. Everything works together to make you feel like you've stepped into an Indiana Jones movie, instead of simply playing another action game. So, is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle worth buying on Nintendo Switch 2? Absolutely. Buy at launch. If you enjoy exploration, cinematic storytelling, satisfying puzzles, and adventure games that reward curiosity, this is an easy recommendation. It has a few rough edges during combat, and technically it isn't the strongest version available. But those issues never stopped me from wanting to see what was waiting behind the next ancient door. My final rating is 9 out of 10. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle captures the heart of the franchise better than I expected. It delivers memorable exploration, clever puzzles, fantastic performances, and the kind of globe-trotting adventure that's been missing from gaming for a long time. Some licensed games simply borrow a famous name. This one earns it. Thanks for watching. Smash and play. Let me know in the comments which Indiana Jones movie is your favorite and whether you'll be playing this adventure on Nintendo Switch 2. If you enjoyed this review, leave a like, subscribe to Smash and Play for more Nintendo Switch 2 reviews and gameplay, and follow us on social media so you never miss the next adventure. Until next time, keep exploring, because the greatest discoveries are usually hiding where nobody else thinks to look.